want to welcome Jay Sean, who has a new single out called I'm All Yours, and also a full album coming later in the fall. How are you?
Good to see you, man.
It's been a good run for you.
It's been great.
You're the first British-born urban act to go #1 on the Billboard charts. Imagine that. Craig David didn't do it. Soul II Soul didn't do it. Jamiroquai, all of these groups. What did you do differently?
You know what? If I could really pinpoint what I did differently, then I guess we'd have #1s consistently. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can really pinpoint that. I think one thing I did learn was this. One thing I really learned in America, in order to have a #1 single at Billboard, you need to have crazy rotation on radio. You need to have crazy sales. So that actually means that it has to go beyond your fan base. And even the people who weren't Jay Sean fans have to like the song. That's what it is, you see, because it actually takes way more than just a niche fan base to get you there. The song actually has to last. It has to be good, and it has to last at radio, and it has to have consistent sales. And that's when I realized that, you know, when a song is that successful, you can't attribute it to just like fan base sales. It's just people liked it.
So why don't we run away? Don't worry, you are my own. You won't be lonely, even if the sky is falling down.
What's really interesting about you is, see, I talk to people who have a business mind that are entertainers. You have it, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you didn't always have a record company. And you had to start your own in order to get noticed.
That's right. I did. I mean, you know, my journey was interesting. I got my first record deal 10 years ago, and I was signed to Virgin Records in England. And, you know, very quickly realized that I had a fan base outside of just England. So I went out there, and I very quickly realized that my records weren't being released in certain territories where I had huge fan bases. It just wasn't in the deal.
How were you able to measure that?
Because we were getting requests from Hong Kong, from Austria, from Barcelona, from, you know, New Zealand, Australia. And I'm like, well, these were territories where my album wasn't even released, but yet they had heard my music over the internet. So I was like, well, something's going on here. Why aren't you guys doing what you need to do? But they were focused primarily on just England. And I was like, oh, I want the world, man. It's not, you know what I'm saying? So I went out there and I literally formed my own record company so that I could distribute it to those people around the world. And I guess it's because of that that I managed to acquire such a global fan base. And when my videos go up on YouTube, it gets such crazy hits so quickly because it's not people just from England looking at it or just from America. They're from all over the world. And that's what got me noticed by Cash Money, because they looked at my views on my videos and they were like 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. Who is this guy? He's not even in England, in America, so. And
when you say Cash Money Records, you're talking about Baby and Slim Williams, the #1 record company in the world right now.
Absolutely amazing.
They also have a very independent feel. They started out themselves in Louisiana. Do you think that was part of the reason they were so drawn to you, because you had this organic appeal?
I think you nailed it. I think they really respected my grind. I think they respected my, you know, my knowledge of the world as opposed to, you know, small island syndrome. Because if you look where Cash Money's gonna come from and what they've actually managed to achieve, they're always thinking globally, they're thinking internationally, they're thinking way beyond just New Orleans.
How do you benefit from being associated with a label that has so many #1 artists? Nicki Minaj, Drake, Lil Wayne.
Of course that helps. I mean, look, I mean, my entry point here into the United States was, of course, it helped the fact that I had one of the biggest rappers in the world at the time on my song. So people are like, Wayne, oh, Wayne's on this song. Who's this guy? Oh, okay. Oh,
the good song.
I like that.
Down was a good song.
So even fans who wouldn't, you know, people who wouldn't know me here in the United States would know that Wayne was on another song, and let's check that song out, etc. So of course, that's the whole point of features. The whole point of features, you know, if you look at it, is you're sharing a fan base, which is amazing. They might not be your fans first, but then they hear the song and they're like, I like this guy, and then they go and research other songs of yours, right? Sharing a fan base. B, creatively, when you put two artists together in a room, I always say, like, what would happen if, you know, Picasso and Van Gogh decided to do a painting together? What would happen? If Mozart and Beethoven collaborated to do a symphony, what would happen? Right. I love the idea of putting two creative minds together like that.
Hey girl, yo, bring back to the time when you and me had just begun, when I was still your number one. Well, it might seem
The South Asian community has been hugely supportive of your work. You haven't specifically focused on that market,
Right.
but you've gotten that market as part of your success.
Of course. I mean, you know, my roots and my background, my culture is, you know, I wear it on my sleeve. I don't, you know, I don't need to scream and shout about it. Everybody knows. My people know. They've known me for the last 10 years. And, you know, the proud that the South Asian community feel for me is, it's immense, because they never, until I came onto the scene, they never had one of their own do the music that they loved. They love Chris Brown, they love Usher, but where's our Chris Brown? Oh, we got Jay Sean, he's repping for us now. This is, and they claim it, you know what I'm saying? Because they feel proud. To have a fan base is every record company's and every artist's dream. What's an awkward one is just when you're kind of a floater. You've got like good songs here and there, but nobody's really into you. They're not like, they don't want to own that, you know, they don't want to claim you. And that's something that I'm so lucky I have a group of people around the world. Remember, South Asians, we're a huge community, man.
Yo, Jay, sing to these ladies.
So long since you've been missing. It's good to see you again.
I mean, you went to medical school, you decided to quit
Right.
to go into music,
Right.
but you had your education.
Exactly. I mean, I think one of the things that my my parents said, it stuck with me. You know, when I told them about the move from music, from medicine to music that I wanted to make, everybody asked, how did your parents react? My mom and dad said, well, you were smart enough to get into medicine, so you're smart enough to know what you're doing. I'm sure you're making the right decision. You know? Just apply the same mentality and hard work ethic as you would to be a doctor to your music. So that's it. So I'm very studious. I'm a student of music, of the music industry, to watch what's going on, who's doing what's working, why do people like this, you know what I'm saying? And I like to analyze stuff like that.
Now let's talk about that, because YouTube was big for you. You were one of the people that blew up, based a lot on social media when other people weren't expecting. You came out of nowhere.
Right.
Tell me about your experience with YouTube.
YouTube, I literally have to thank for my entire career and my global fan base. My global fan base was literally channeled through YouTube. That I managed to reach them via this one website. I mean, it was insane, and that one website also taught me how popular I was at a time where I didn't know I was that popular.
And from a cost perspective, as a guy who was just one man trying to start a record company, what was that like?
I literally took everything I had, you know, that I had earned, the money I had earned from the last sort of 3 years as an artist, touring and advances, etc., and invested it in myself. You know, I paid for my own music videos, paid for the, you know, you have to pay for the production, I had to pay the producers and, you know, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And then you get a distribution deal with somebody. You know, you manage to find a way to get that out there to the masses. And it wasn't, you know, I had a couple of partners in the business with me, but it was tough. It was a really, really tough journey.
We can do it, and we can do it all night. We can do it, and we can do it all night. We can do it, we can do it all night, yeah, all night, yeah.
You have South Asia, you have Britain, you have North America, you have the Philippines. You're the #1 artist there in terms of your following is huge there. And now Latin America. What's next?
Well, to make sure I stay in all those, to stay relevant and successful in all those territories. You see, for me, one of the things that I realized was music, in terms of record sales, it's not what it used to be back in the day. We all know this. People were selling tens of millions of albums back in before the digital age and before you could get songs for free. So artists nowadays really are making a lot more money on the road. You know, if some artists don't write their own songs, I'm fortunate that I do write my own songs, and publishing will always be a guarantee for me, thank God, you know. But there, like I said, the touring is very important. So you have to understand that if I want to make money outside, imagine I was no longer hot in United Kingdom. And imagine that's all I had. And I'm like, oh, damn, no one wants to see me live anymore. Oh, but hold on. I got Japan. I got South America. I got America. I got the whole of Europe. I got Africa. I got all of this. I'm going there. You know what I mean? And that's what's really important, is that you've got to, and the challenge is to keep all those fan bases happy at the same time. Make sure you go there and perform to your fan base, because they're loving you and supporting you, but they want to see you too, and they want you to give the same love back. So that's why, for me, I think it's very important that I keep going back to my community, to my people, because those are the people that made me, you know, and so I don't want to forget that.
Because you can leverage these audiences. Why aren't you establishing relationships for commercials and product endorsements?
Of course, that's
you
the
want to
next.
be in that space?
Of course, that's the next. You know, that's the next step for us. Really, is to get behind some products that really I believe in, not just for the sake of a paycheck, but also things that I'm interested in. For example, I'm a brand ambassador for a clothing company called 5'4".
From a production standpoint, because you are a true artist, you're not a person that doesn't have a sense of musicality. You see a lot of people in the industry now that don't necessarily have that. Does that help you? I mean, where do your songs start? Do they start at the piano?
It's hard to say, man. I don't. My songwriting process it changes depending on what mood I'm in, depending on what kind of song I want to write, depending on, you know, what the goal is. I mean, I don't just come into the studio and go, today we will write a ballad. Because what if I'm not in the mood to write a ballad? What if I'm feeling like super energetic and I just want to write a feel-good song? So what we do, we come in the studio and I work with the same people pretty much. OFM have been the producers that I've worked with consistently. Because my theory is, if it ain't broke, man.
You have a new album coming out in the fall.
Yes.
We're going to be looking for that.
Yes, it's called Worth It All. I'm really excited about that album. I really do believe from the bottom of my heart, you know, that it's, I've managed to take all of my years, or 10 years of singing and songwriting to, you know, to its maximum over here.
Okay, well, it took you 10 years to become an overnight success.
Right.
Right?
I love that. Exactly. It's a hell of a long night.
All right, Jay Sean, thank you so much.
Cheers.
And with Jay Sean, I'm Lee Hawkins. See you next time.
Turn it up, mash it up, it ain't the end of the world.